On the morning of August 1st, 1966, shots ring out from the observation deck of the clock tower on the University of Texas campus. It marks the infamous beginning of the modern era of mass shootings in America.
I'm Sarah Ferris, true crime podcaster.
And I'm Catherine Schweit, the former head of the FBI's active shooter program.
And you're listening to Stop the Killing.
Hey, Sarah, today I wanted to talk about something that maybe we don't talk about very often, which is what is in our bonus episodes for those of you who don't get a chance to listen to them. Is that okay?
Yeah, definitely.
Is that a kooky idea? Okay.
I know. I think it's a good idea. It's a good kind of like shortcut. If you haven't listened to all the bonus episodes, we're going to give you a little cheat sheet.
We just have so much fun doing them. I think we're a little more irreverent on the bonus episodes.
It's so true.
It's just not a flattering thing to say sometimes about yourself, but also sometimes we just pop on and do a bonus episode because we want to pop out something that has such current value. And, one of those I know that we did just this season that I loved was, I'm not going to get the name right, persistent parent. What was the name?
Oh, no, it was persistent parent resistant principles, I think. It's something along those lines. I do like to alliterate, clearly.
Yeah, so persistent parents resistant principle. That's it.
Yeah.
That's, of course, I knew that's what the name of it was all the time. And we had a listener who wanted to know how they could pound through a very unwilling school official when it came to anything in this discussion. And, actually, I love that question because I get that question a lot. People reach out to me, my friends call and they'll say, my family calls and says, my principal won't even talk about this. And so on that bonus episode, we talked about some of that and some strategies for parents. To me, that was a lot of fun. So that's one of mine.
It was a good episode. And the other interesting thing about that listener question was it was actually asked by one of our Patreon members, and we've got a Discord channel with other Patreons. And it was so cool to see the other Patreons chip in with their ideas and become kind of like, community of solving the problem. And some of the ideas were brilliant. So it was a real uplifting kind of conversation and real time. We were getting updates on how it was going and how it was progressing. We must check in actually and see what's happening with that soon. And I think
we'll have to do that.
Another episode because I think you're actually going to do a call with the listener with the Patreon.
I am. I'm going to do a separate call and we're going to see how it all turned out and get a little bit of blow by blow.
I love that.
What about you?
Oh, okay. So, this season, I think one of my most gripping bonus episodes was one called
Gripping.
It was
Listen up.
It was gripping.
Gripping.
When you introduced it to me and when we recorded it, we didn't know how this episode was going to end. It was an unfolding case. It was called On the Lam. That's the name of the episode. And the reason it was called On the Lam was because you used that term and I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about, you crazy American. What does that mean? So we had a little, educational session on telling me that on the lam means somebody is on the run.
Yes.
And the person that was on the run in this case, it was the neighbor. Well, it was a neighbor who had been shooting his gun and the neighbors had come over. It was like 11 o'clock at night. Can you please keep the noise down? We've got a baby sleeping. And then the most horrific chain of events was kicked off from that moment. And the family were inside the house. And I just remember you saying there was a mother on the porch or a woman on the porch as the neighbor was coming towards the house with the gun. And she said to the man, you go inside. He won't shoot a woman. And then
and then the story goes on.
It goes on and on and on. And when we finished that episode, we didn't know what was going to happen. So it was quite the cliffhanger. So that was probably one that stuck with me.
That episode is so sad and a very
tragic.
Oh, it's so sad. And I think it's also, for me, and I don't think I said this on the episode, so we can just think this thought, but for me, it was a foretelling of how carelessness with weapons can result in such tragedy. I hear about people Well, occasionally you'll hear from somebody who says, well, he pulled his gun out. And a law enforcement officer is taught you don't pull your gun out unless you're willing to use it. But I think now sometimes people pull a gun out in the same way that they would raise a fist at somebody to say,
Yeah.
I'm so mad at you. I'm going to, beat you up. And now instead they pull a gun out. And then when it's out, then it gets fired. Right.
Yeah.
So that's the scary part about it. And that episode very much is kind of foretelling the danger of that idea of just having weapons available. And I think some other factors that we talked about.
You've just reminded me of another episode that was right up the top of my, oh my God, did that just all happen? Episodes. I don't think it was a bonus one. It was, I can't even remember what it was called, but it was the story of, it was called Dominoes. That's the name of the episode if you're looking for it. And it was the one where we had 4 cases of just ridiculous moments of rage that ended up in tragic situations. I'm not going to tell you anything else more about it. Go and listen to Dominoes. It is, your jaw will be on the ground. I remember telling people that story weeks and weeks after we'd recorded it, just still not being able to process what I'd heard from you.
I recall what you're talking about. You have to listen to it. It's just incredible.
Gone wrong. Yeah.
Definitely. And a good precursor to let's not let that happen again. One of the bonus episodes that I wanted to just mention is a little bit of just kind of a numbers game, right? It's, I think that's what it's called, is a numbers game. And so many times when I'm having conversations, I have to say so many numbers and I have all these numbers in my head. It's why I had to put all of that down in my books. And so I recall I spewed out an awful lot of numbers on that little bonus episode.
It's a great little compendium of the go-to numbers and what's going on at the moment. And and we didn't even have to do any conversions, which was great because I hate a conversion when we have to go from American to UK. We always seem to do that with numbers normally.
Well, that's true because the other day I said it had been quite hot here and it was between like 88 and 92. And Sarah
I'm like, what?
Raised her hand up saying, what does that mean? What does that mean?
You should say bikini weather. That should never happen anyway. I redact bikini weather, but maybe what you could do is have a scale of
mittens
shorts weather. Oh, shorts weather and mittens weather. I like that.
How's that?
Yeah.
Yep. Mittens or shorts, mittens or flip flops.
That's perfect. That's our scale.
Okay. That's our scale.
Yeah. Okay. So if you are wanting to access our bonus episodes, then if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, simply go to the show page and click the subscribe button. And as well as getting all of those bonus episodes, you'll also get ad-free and 1 week early. And if you want all of that, plus access to the Discord community and video versions of the podcast, then simply head to patreon.com/stopthekilling or click on the links in the show notes. Catherine and I appreciate our subscribers' ongoing support, and that is why we put a lot of work into creating the bonus episodes each week for Stop the Killing subscribers. And on that note, a massive warm welcome to our new Patreon subscribers, Cami and Larry. We look forward to talking to you in the Discord community. Thanks for listening. And if you want to know more, Catherine's book, Stop the Killing, is out now. For more details, go to catherineschweit.com. Please consider also supporting our independently made podcast. It's simple to do. Go to patreon.com/Stop the Killing. And for as little as the price of a latte a month, you can be part of the solution to stop the killing. Patreon rewards range from official do-gooder status to ad-free episodes, autographed books, and opportunities to connect with us directly for your business, school, church, or even just a book club chat. But just knowing that you are part of a movement that has the power to make your community safer, well, that's got to taste better than a skinny cappuccino any day. So please head to patreon.com/Stop the Killing now and polish off your do-gooder halo and make sure to include your name so we can give you a shout out. This podcast is a Community podcast production. That's con with an N. If you want more content, then head over to Community Podcast at Instagram, where you'll find trailers on more binge-worthy true crime, like the award-winning podcast Conning the Con. And check out our show notes for all the links mentioned. Finally, if you want one takeaway action that you can do right now that can help make our community safer, please share, rate and review this podcast wherever you listen. Everybody needs to know that they hold the keys to see something and say something. Together, we can stop the killing.
It's one of those things you hope never happens, but you better train for it because it will happen. And it will happen in places you wouldn't expect. Be ready for it.